Thanks for joining us today, guys. We're big fans of the Daily Goat, so a few familiar faces in the audience already. We run a disability magazine and we've been starting to help companies that are working with disabled people. Not so much influencer, but just broadly about social marketing. So for example, this wheelchair I'm in is very useful, gets me around everywhere. And so the company are looking at how they can grow their reach a bit more with people that may want to buy the wheelchair. So we've sort of been in this space of helping brands and disabled people connect.
As Martyn says, we kind of are a conduit between inclusive businesses pretty much and the disabled community, really, and multiple ways that we help them connect. But yeah, we're just at the moment exploring the whole world of influencer marketing, and yeah, it's been fascinating.
I'd be interested, has anyone come across any disabled influencers? No. Interesting. Cool. Well, now you have. Job done. So yeah, I thought I'd give a little bit of my personal story because I think stories just bring things to life. When we just talk about disability, it's quite a far-reaching topic. So I had a big operation when I was about 15, which was to put titanium rods in my back because I had a scoliosis and was very hunched over. And I always just bring that up because for me it was one of those moments that really test you. And I was lying on my back in hospital for a month. I had time off school just before my GCSEs, and it would have been quite easy just to have given up on stuff, but I took it the other way and flipped it upside down, and I just started dreaming of all the things that I was going to do once I was better. And I think for me now I still have that philosophy to dream big, because even if you don't get that full big goal that you've gone for, even half the way there, it's still going to be amazing. So for me that was a big learning lesson from the operation. So yeah, for me keys for inclusion are around overcoming the social model barriers. So that's around the access to buildings and transport in the environment. It's around attitudes of people. You can imagine some people might see me in my wheelchair and have ideas about what life is like that are not actually in line with the reality. So a lot of barriers that we face are actually attitudinal and educating people. And the third one is policy, so how businesses and government make policies that are inclusive. So I started making videos, started writing, using all the different social platforms. And then really that's first what brought us to the idea of the magazine, which is disabilityhorizons.com. Then Accomable was co-founded with Shrin as well, and Chris was very involved in that too. And it was basically vetting accommodation for disabled travellers, and we sold it to Airbnb 2 years ago. So it's another example of how businesses are starting to wake up that disability is a market. It's not charity, it's not pity, but it's actually, we're consumers and we want to go on holiday. We buy everyday consumer products as well. And so bit by bit we've been chipping away at some of the brands on that. I do a lot of consultancy work with governments, businesses and charities, and I've been voted twice in Britain's top 5 most influential disabled people. The way they do that, it's not so much about the most number of, say, YouTube or Instagram followers, but it's all the work and the influence you've done through working with government and, you know, empowering the next generation of disabled people. So influencer in that sense a little bit different, but yeah, nonetheless it's still influencer work.
What platform do you think has been the best to kind of get the message out?
YouTube's been pretty powerful. Yeah, I stopped using YouTube a bit 5 years ago because I got into the whole, how are we going to make a business of this? And then it kind of sucked my creativity out, and I've been more doing strategy and business, and the last year I've got back into vlogging and doing more, you know, creation again. And actually the business picks up as a result, because the more you put out cool content, the more people are drawn to it. But definitely YouTube's been a popular platform. I think Instagram's become pretty popular as well, particularly stories. It's just so easy. So like I've just got back from 2 weeks in Croatia, and I did 2 weeks of a personal development course. I got the accommodation for free in return for a blog. So even if I'm not earning income, there's still great perks to being an influencer, like 2 weeks free accommodation. But yeah, I was at the airport and I had an absolute nightmare trying to get on and off the plane with the wheelchair. And so I did a little video blog, and I think it was actually on Facebook this time it got picked up more, but I used that when I spoke to Standstill about the problems, and they did like a big investigation and they're apologising, they're going to make changes. So I think another message from today was that, you know, we've not started out blogging to work with brands. It's also about changing the world and supporting disabled people and making the world more inclusive. And I think using content like, oh, I'm at an airport and this is just ridiculously difficult, is part of how we change attitudes, because it holds people more accountable now. It gives us all a voice.